Jai Bhagwan, Namaste, Haush Haush, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Welcome home, my family, my brothers, my sisters. I'm going to share something very special and sacred with you today. I'm going to be reading from The Boy Crisis. If you have not heard of this book, it's written with a co-author who wrote Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus, which is an amazing book, especially if you're interested in having relationships. So this book was gifted to me and my partner from a good friend named Dwayne, who I'm very excited to share with you on an episode of Testimony in a Tub. Yesterday, this book, it jumped out at me on the bookshelf, and we have played the game where you randomly open the book and I have landed upon this very special part. Hello. And so I'm going to read to you where I have stumbled upon, which is chapter 20. And then after I have read this, I have decided to read this book today. And it was so good that in one sitting I have made it to chapter 5. And that's including reading the introduction. I am one of those readers who enjoys to read the book from front to back, and that includes everything. So let us begin. Chapter 20 says, "The best parent is both parents, but fortunately, lack of father involvement is a crisis with a solution. Father involvement. Eating sugar is also a problem with the solution. Eating no sugar. Sometimes doing the right thing is so within reach and so out of reach. Let's look at what we can do to support father involvement when it is within reach and what to do when it is out of reach. The best parent is an attitude shift. To integrate women into the workplace, we required a still in process attitude shift toward women and work. To integrate men into parenting requires a yet to evolve attitude shift toward both dads and marriage. Escaping the psychological divorce trap. While marriage is the best way to ensure that a boy has an involved dad, your marriage will not inspire him to marry if it feels you are legally married but psychologically divorced. Nor will it inspire him if he discovers later in life that his parents suffered through staying together until the children get older. Psychologically divorced parents who are just biding time until their children's graduation often feel like they are in a minimum security prison, marriage. It's depressing for the parents and provokes anxiety in the children. Many couples blame the failure of their marriages on money, children, or lack of sex. But a happy marriage is less about money, children, or lack of sex than about how we communicate about money, children, or lack of sex. So why don't we communicate better? It begins with that Achilles heel of humans, our inability to hear personal criticism from a loved one without becoming defensive, especially if the criticism is given badly. And for most of us, all criticism from loved ones is given badly. Why doesn't our love overcome our defensiveness? Because the more deeply we love, the more our partner's criticism hurts, the more fragile we feel. So when our loved one's criticism increases our fragility, we may respond with defensiveness and anger. But our partner's not aware that our anger is our vulnerability's mask. are both blinded to the vulnerability that would soften their hearts and intimidated by our anger. So our partner responds by walking on eggshells. Slowly, our passion's flower wilts. Raising children and the money to support them leave us too fatigued to communicate. And they intensify our interlocking dependencies, even as the lack of communication weakens our interlocking hearts. Hence, psychological divorce and the minimum security prison marriage. Active listening, verbalizing to your partner that you heard her or him say, is a good starter solution. But it is rarely used outside a therapist office. Why? Active listeners are expected to not only drop defenses, but to repeat the criticism without the defenses. The problem? Defenses feel most crucial when you are feeling criticized by someone you love. To sever this Gordian knot, I developed a method by which we can learn to feel safe on the inside when being criticized, because we emotionally associate our ability to provide a safe environment for our partner's feelings with a golden opportunity to be more deeply loved. The anticipation of feeling more loved by someone we love requires no defenses. I offer some starter steps as to the methods I've developed to communicate non-defensively in Chapter 27 on healing hurt people. Even when couples do master the art of communicating non-defensively, most of the time I am often asked, when we do argue, is it healthy to fight in front of the kids? Fighting in front of the kids. Elijah recalled, I remember being 17 and asking my parents if I could use the car on Friday evening, but neither of them liked the crowd I was hanging out with. My mom was arguing that I should get to use the car, but with an 11 p.m. curfew. My dad said no car until I get my grades up and find a better crowd. At first, I was adding arguments to support my mom, but as their disagreements got nasty, I began rooting for them to just stop fighting. When I later got involved with a woman who became my fiancée, and she and I had our first significant fight, she fell apart and broke off the engagement.